Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Welcome back to another episode of the History AI podcast. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Marco. Today, we're diving into the life of an extraordinary figure, the Marquis de Lafayette.
Ah, the Frenchman who danced through two revolutions.
That's one way to put it. But before we get too deep, let's pay some bills.
When the world hits hard, hit back harder with Strike Force Energy. The zero sugar, zero calorie, power-packed energy drink additive that fuels your adventure. Just a quick squeeze turns any drink into a relentless power source. Perfect for your workout, your hike, your life. Ready to strike? Visit strikeforceenergy.com, use coupon code UTSALAX24 for an explosive 20% off your order. Strike Force Energy, unleash your potential. Strike Force Energy, fuel the fight within you.
Alright, let's jump back into history. So, Marco, who was the Marquis de Lafayette?
Born in 1757, Gilbert du Motier was to become the Marquis de Lafayette. Hailing from an ancient noble lineage, his family's martial tradition went back generations. His father died fighting the British when Lafayette was just 2.
A hint of things to come, perhaps.
Precisely. Lafayette's early life was steeped in privilege, but also in the call to serve and honor.
And this call led him to the shores of America. But before that, let's talk about his family background a bit more.
Right. He was born to a prestigious family in the Auvergne region of France. Now, here's a fun fact, Lafayette's lineage could be traced back to a comrade-in-arms of Joan of Arc during the Siege of Orleans.
A soldier's blood through and through. No wonder he felt the urge to help out our fledgling nation during its War of Independence.
Precisely. But before we get to America, let's look at his political beliefs. As a young noble, he could have just enjoyed his privilege. Instead, he was inspired by the Enlightenment ideals.
Ah, the Enlightenment, where everyone was suddenly lighting up with ideas.
You could say that. Influenced by thinkers of the age, Lafayette championed liberty, equality, and fraternity, ideals that would deeply shape both the American and French revolutions.
And speaking of the American Revolution, let's cross the Atlantic. Why did this young French noble decide to help the Americans?
Well, despite initial opposition from King Louis XVI, he was driven by those Enlightenment ideals and also possibly the allure of glory. In 1777, at just 19, he arrived in America and volunteered for the Continental Army.
Talk about an overachiever.
He quickly became close with George Washington, forming almost a father-son bond. This connection fast-tracked his role in the war, and he played a crucial role in battles like the one at Brandywine.
And this wasn't just a symbolic gesture, was it?
Not at all. Lafayette was pivotal in securing French support for the Americans. He liaised between the two, and French troops and resources proved invaluable in securing American independence.
But his love affair with revolutions wasn't limited to America.
Indeed. Back in France, the winds of change were blowing. Lafayette, with his newfound revolutionary credentials from America, was thrust into the spotlight.
And he had some famous friends in France as well. Someone by the name of Thomas Jefferson.
Correct. The two were close, bonding over shared ideals. Lafayette even named his son after George Washington and another after Thomas Jefferson.
Talk about hero worship.
Certainly. Now, during the French Revolution, Lafayette was initially a key player, even drafting the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, a foundational document of the French Republic.
But things didn't go smoothly for him in France, did they?
Not at all. The radical phase of the revolution saw him branded a traitor. He fled but was captured by Austrian troops and imprisoned for 5 years.
Quite the roller coaster life.
Indeed. His writings, especially the Declaration, are incredibly impactful. They lay out fundamental rights and freedoms, heavily inspired by his experiences in America and his Enlightenment beliefs.
And these ideas have had a lasting impact on democracies worldwide.
Absolutely. He was an advocate for the abolition of slavery, fought for rights for Protestants in Catholic France, and supported the Polish in their quest for independence.
But like all men, Lafayette wasn't immortal.
True. He passed away in 1834, surrounded by family. His legacy, however, is monumental. Today, he's celebrated on both sides of the Atlantic, a symbol of the unbreakable bond between France and the US.
So, a Frenchman, a revolutionary, a soldier, and a writer. Quite the resume.
Definitely. And to think, he did all this without the help of Google.
That he did. Alright folks, that wraps up our deep dive into the life of the Marquis de Lafayette.
We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
Until next time, I'm Chuck.
And I'm Marco.
Stay curious and keep exploring history.